Jalen Brunson had his breakout game of the season against the New Orleans Pelicans, and I'm here to talk about it. Let's get right into today's video. What's up, guys? It's your boy Dariel. The Knicks just finished beating the New Orleans Pelicans by the score of 104-93, and undoubtedly, unequivocally, this was Jalen Brunson's best game of the season. Ending with 39 points, 13 of 19 from the field, 7 of 10 from three-point line, converting all 6 of his free throws, grabbing 1 rebound and 6 assists. So I'm going to definitely talk about like how he got those points. But one thing that I definitely want to get off my chest right away is the way the defenses are playing him. And I was able to watch a little bit of the post-game interview where Jalen Brunson was being interviewed by the great Mike Breen and Knicks alumni, Jamal Crawford. And Mike Breen asked him, he was like, have you noticed that the defenses have been a little bit more, he didn't say aggressive. He didn't use that word specifically. He just asked him if he noticed that the defenses were defending him differently. And Jalen Brunson said a little bit, but he just said a little bit. He didn't really dive into it. He just said that he just has to keep his head down, keep playing through it, and eventually everything is going to be okay. But what I wanted to really talk about is how the defenses are being a lot more physical with him. Whenever he's just at the top of the key, today Trey Murphy or Herb Jones, whichever one of them, switched off to defend Jalen Brunson, I just noticed that they were being incredibly physical with him. And I mean, this is something that's going to happen for the rest of the season, for the duration of the season. Jalen Brunson is the best player on the team, and the teams know that once Jalen Brunson gets going, it's going to be a long night for whoever's defending him, for whatever team is going up against the Knicks. So that's just something that I definitely wanted to point out, and just point out the difference from this season to last season to the first season when he was here with the Knicks. But Jalen Brunson, man, like I said in the beginning of this video, 39 points, I believe like 28 of that was in the second half, 13 of 19 from the field, 7 of 10 from three-point line, 70%. Are you kidding me? Converting all 6 of his free throws. Karl-Anthony Towns, he didn't have a good night tonight. This is one of the positives for already having an all-star caliber player when you made an all-star trade. Karl-Anthony Towns, yeah, we're expecting him to be one of the better players on the team, but if he has an off night, we got Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson has been here for a few years now, and we know that he's more than capable of carrying the load, and he proved that in tonight's game. Now, of course, you can have the argument and you can bring it up. It's the New Orleans Pelicans. With this loss, they go to 5-24 for the year. They go to 4-10 at home without Zion Williamson, without Grand Theft Alvarado. They're just killed with a slew of injuries. DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, they were in and out of the lineup because of injuries. Today, they both played. But I get it. The New Orleans Pelicans, they're not one of the contenders in the league, but they're still professional basketball players. So Jalen Brunson having 39 points, 28 of them coming in the second half. Super impressive. And again, like I keep saying, the narrative around Jalen Brunson's name this season so far, because Cat is having such a strong start to the season, the narrative around Jalen Brunson's name is he's fallen off. He's not really being talked about anymore as one of the better players in the league. He's one of the best point guards in the league. And then he just reminds us all, like a game tonight, 39 points, that he is that dude. With this win, the Knicks go to 18-10 for the year. They go to 10-6 for an away record, which is good. I do want to highlight someone else that had a pretty stellar game. Mikal Bridges. Now, Chris and I, we were not able to hop on a post-game show for the Minnesota game on Thursday, I believe it was, which I'm going to give my 2 cents about that in a little bit. But in that game, Mikal Bridges had a really good game, which was overshadowed by Cat's return, and Cat had a really good game as well. But in tonight's game, he had 18 points, 7 of 16 from the field, 3 of 6 from three-point line, 50%. Love that. Converting 1 of his 2 free throws, dishing out 3 assists with no rebounds. Definitely would have liked him to grab a few rebounds. But don't know if it's safe to say, but, the idea of Mikal Bridges maybe coming out of his shooting slump, it's percolating. I maybe want to do a video about it, but it's only been 2 games. But I just want to shout out Mikal Bridges because the New York media has been going crazy on him with the inconsistency with his shot and just his play. But part of it is Mikal Bridges, but the other part of it is how he's being used in the offense. Coach Tibbs, little by little, he's just learning Mikal Bridges' tendencies. He's learning about how to use Mikal Bridges correctly in this offense, because for the first handful of games, maybe even 10 games of the season, it looked like Mikal Bridges was just standing in the corner and he was looking around, where ever since past the first 10 games, like little by little, we've seen a little bit of improvement of how Coach Tibbs is using Mikal Bridges in the offense. And within these last 2 games specifically, like Mikal Bridges, it just seems like he's a lot more. He's just a little more involved. Today, he finished a plus minus. He finished with a plus 20. The captain of the team, Brunson, finished with a plus 25. Karl-Anthony Towns finished with a plus 1. The whole starting 5 finished with pluses, but Karl-Anthony Towns finished with a plus 1. That's interesting. 11 points, 3 of 10 from the field, 2 of 5 from three-point line, converting all 3 of his free throws, grabbing 10 rebounds and 4 assists. So he had a double-double, but that double-double was a light double-double. And, of course, I got to talk about the minutes. For the starting 5, we had Mikal Bridges continuing his Ironman pursuit, 45 minutes. OG Anunoby played 37 minutes. Cat played 27. Brunson played 40. Josh Hart played 42. And Karl-Anthony Towns playing 27 minutes is interesting because the Jericho minutes, he actually played 13 minutes, 1 minute more than Precious Achiuwa. He ended with no points, no field goal attempts, no free throw attempts, grabbing 8 rebounds in the 13 minutes. I'm just surprised that Jericho Sims is still getting run. Ariel Hukporti is recovering from that ankle injury, I believe, that he had when he went down to the G League for like a day. So maybe that's the reason why. If Ariel Hukporti was available, maybe it would be him and Precious in this game. But whatever, Jericho Sims got the minutes tonight. Precious Achiuwa played 12 minutes. He had 1 bucket. He was 1 of 4 from the field. No 3-point attempts, no free throw attempts, grabbing 7 rebounds. So 2 points, 7 rebounds in the 12 minutes that he was out there. Yeah, that's Precious. And one of the last things I'll mention before talking about the Minnesota game on Thursday and Cat's return is just something I noticed is just the complaining that we do, specifically Josh Hart, man. Like, yo, stop complaining. And I mentioned it in one of the post-game shows that I did earlier last week. I forgot against what team, but Josh Hart, it just seems like he's complaining more and more, and I just don't like that. And that is one of the contributors into maybe the ratings being down with the NBA. Just the lack of physicality, the softness, the complaining, the flopping, like all that is incorporated into each other. And I just really don't like it when anybody from the Knicks is complaining about fouls and always crying about it. Just play through the contact, man. Play through it. Be super aggressive on the next play, and the ref will award you for being so aggressive. So I don't know. The conversation about the ratings being down for the NBA, that's a whole nother video. That's a whole nother topic. Like, I don't know what the NBA can do, but that's just something I saw in tonight's game that I really didn't like. Josh Hart, you're better than that. But now, I do want to give my 2 cents about Thursday's game with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So, yes, the Knicks won. Cat had a really good game, but I feel like one of the themes, one of the topics that should be highlighted is talking about who won the trade. Seeing how Cat had such a dominant performance, how the Knicks won, the topic of who won the trade, you know, the Knicks getting Cat. The narrative around Cat's name is that he's soft, that he doesn't come up big when it matters. And then Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo going to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Everybody thought that Minnesota actually won the trade. But, I mean, it's just interesting, man. If we take a look at the standings, the Knicks are in 3rd with a record of 17-10. And if we go to the West, the Minnesota Timberwolves, even with the winning record, 14-12, they're in the 8th seed. So they're in the play-in tournament when it happens at the end of the season. Now, the Western Conference, of course, throughout history has always been more competitive, has always been harder than the Eastern Conference. So we got to take that into account. But I don't know, man. The way Cat has been playing this season is not like being 3rd in the East. Yeah, it's a collective effort, but Cat has been in the MVP talks. The NBA, they release an MVP ladder article every week, and this most recent one, I believe he was 5th or 6th, and I think that's the highest if Cat has ever been on the list. So we definitely got to salute Cat for just the way he's been able to ingratiate himself into this team. Now, of course, we also got to give a big salute to Jalen Brunson. I don't want to say he took a step back and letting Cat getting his feet wet with this team and making sure that he feels comfortable with the team. But Jalen Brunson you could tell that he was feeling it out for the first few weeks of the season, and I think it's paying dividends. Now, there's still a long time until the end of the season. But as far as right now, after that game on Thursday, seeing how the Knicks went into Minnesota and took care of business, it's just interesting to see how the dynamics of the Knicks look like and the dynamics of the Minnesota Timberwolves look like. Julius Randle has always had this thing going against him. Like, he's a great player. When he was with the Knicks, I believe he made the All-Star team 3 of the 4 seasons. But there's something with Julius Randle where it just makes it difficult to play with him. He's not a consistent jump shooter. His jump shot, I think, is the biggest hitch in his game. If he's able to develop a consistent, reliable jump shot, for the Minnesota Timberwolves, it will definitely help. It will give more space for Anthony Edwards to do his thing, break down the defense, and go into the lane and be able to pop out assists to Mike Conley, even Julius Randle, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jaden McDaniels. And that could be said with Julius Randle on every team he's been on. He's been one of the best players on the team, but there's always that one hitch in his game. And I think by now in his career, Julius Randle is what he is. And it might be a little bit too late for him to change up, not even change up his game, but just add a more consistent jump shot. But Julius Randle going to the Minnesota Timberwolves, I didn't like it for Minnesota. I wasn't too ecstatic about Cat coming to the Knicks either, and I'm still not jumping on the bandwagon. I'm not saying Cat absolutely won the trade, because honestly, we gotta wait and see what the playoffs look like. If the Minnesotas don't even make it to the playoffs, then I think undoubtedly the Knicks won the trade. But if they make it to the playoffs and the Knicks, we're gonna be there, then we gotta take a look and see what each team does in the playoff run. But guys, I want to say thank you so much for checking out this video. Make sure to hit that thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Do all of that good stuff. You know the drill. You know the vibes. Jalen Brunson, for all the MVPs, having the breakout game of the season. Salute to you, Jalen Brunson. The deuce is loose for co-MVP. OG Anunoby for Defensive Player of the Year, being a complete wizard on the floor. And of course, Taj Gibson for President. But until next time, I'll check you out in the next video, guys. Peace. Queens forever.